Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. Can you tell me something about your startup?
Sure. Okay, so my name is Anasteli Gallego. I'm the founder of GoShopia.com. It's an e-marketplace for slow and sustainable fashion. And basically designers that want to join us have to follow at least one of our 3 S's, which are our values. The first one being slow fashion, so nothing is mass produced. The second one being sustainable fashion, so that they follow processes or techniques, or they're using fabrics that are, biodegradable or recyclable or recycled already, or they have a less impact on the environment. And the third S is socially responsible brands. So if they have an NGO or if they have a cause that is part of their business, we can also work with them. And there's a fourth S, which is style, because we want to break the stereotype that a sustainable fashion is only good to go to the beach or to relax with your friends because it's very loose, maybe cotton or linen. There's actually a lot of amazing fashion that you can take to the office, you can take to weddings, you can take to special occasions and events, and you can look amazing.
Wow, that sounds good. So when you say sustainable fashion, okay, so do you think that this particular concept is here to stay?
I think so, because right now the level of consumerism that we are facing in this society is not sustainable in the long term. We need to really change our ways of not only how we buy and consume fashion, but also how we live in general, and how we do our groceries, how we travel. All that needs actually to be adapted.
So when you say sustainable fashion, so do you think like you want to come out from the old ways how the fashion industry used to work? Because when I say brands like big brands, whichever big brands you talk about in the world, they are meant for mass production.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you talk about sustainable fashion and something which is not mass produced, so how would you take care if tomorrow the demand is all of a sudden increasing? Like if there is a huge demand in the market, okay, suppose you come up with a product, okay, and the demand is just too high, then the only option is mass production.
This is the thing.
And then how to maintain the quality?
And that's the key. In our case, we're focusing very much on the quality, because part of the sustainable fashion mindset is basically that you buy less and you buy better. You look for quality against quantity. Right now, when you go to the malls, you see like buy 3 t-shirts. In reality, maybe you're not even needing one, but you're buying 3 because it's just very cheap and it's just right in there, right? The idea, when you actually change your minds into a more sustainable living, you realize really what you are needing. It's not that many things. So the level of consumption decreases, but your level of demands for every piece you're buying increases. You want to make sure that the piece is going to last long. It's going to be easy to take care of. That the fabric is proper and it's not gonna, you're really looking for pieces that are gonna last. You're looking even for heritage pieces, things that you can give to your daughter, to your sister, or to, that's the kind of mindset. So fantastic if there is such a huge demand. What will happen if there is a very high demand of things? And on the sustainable part, what will happen is that right now the cost of producing sustainable is higher than fast fashion, because even the fabrics the cost is higher, because right now the entire production system is wrong. It's based on the assumption that they're not taking care of the environment, right? So if there is a high demand for sustainable products and sustainable practice, we will get to the economies of scale that we reach now with non-sustainable options, but in the sustainable options. So it would be fantastic for the environment, for us as a society, and everything.
Okay. And at the same time, I think because your focus is more on fashion designers, so any which ways designers, they're promoting an experience, not just a product, of mass production. Like suppose there's a fashion designer, he won't be having like 10 pieces of the same dress, he might have just one piece of a particular dress.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you have like hundreds of fashion designers under your label, under your brand, so it gives the customer that much variety.
Exactly.
to,
That's the
to
idea, to increase the
Okay.
options for our clients.
Okay, and in a much better experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did this idea come up, or like you thought like there is not a particular platform which is giving this opportunity to
Yeah.
entrepreneurs who are dealing in fashion?
The idea came when I've been always in love with fashion and creativity. Some years ago, when I saw I don't know if you've seen the documentary, The True Cost.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's about the conditions that the people are actually working, and the Rana collapse, the Rana Plaza collapse, and all this. It really opened my eyes to what was behind my own closet. Like you realize, oh my God, there's much more to this. And you then understand the entire story. It's like, okay, it is very cheap because they're not being paid enough. They're working in terrible conditions. They're not given the importance. The people are actually organs. They're not important in the whole supply chain. So that's why it kind of like start itching. Like, okay, I need to change what I buy. So I started my own personal journey into a sustainable closet, and I realized that eventually when you buy something, because there is a whole process, as I was telling you before about the mindset. When you change your mindset, you will go to the mall, go to a shop, and first of all you start thinking like, okay, do I really need this, or I just want it? Okay, if I just want it, maybe I just, I don't buy. If I do need it, or even if I still want to go ahead and buy it, then okay, how long is it gonna last? Does it match with the rest of my closet? Or do I need to, when you buy something and in order to use it, you need to buy another thing and another thing? We just try to avoid all that. So then you realize at the end that you're not buying as many things, which is great. It's great because then you're saving money to actually spend on things that are better quality. You're just not following trends. If there is a particular print with unicorns that is fantastic this year, next year is going to be dinosaurs. So why you just go with what you feel like is good for you and for your style. So you actually develop your own sense of style more accurate, because you're not letting yourself be pulled to one side or to the other with trends. So this is part of the process, actually, how you end up being more sustainable. I did one full year and I was going to the malls and I didn't buy anything.
So you think
not anything, because I was not needing anything for myself. And after that, I started needing things after one full year, and I realized that when you want really to buy something sustainable, people are working in small silos, and it's not like a platform where you like if you're vegan, you can go to a vegan supermarket, or you go to vegan fashion e-commerce, but there is nothing of the sort for sustainability. So I thought, like, instead of me doing research, finding brands, most of them in Europe or in the United States, that have a particular aesthetics and a particular price point, and then finding out that they cannot ship here, then what if I actually create a platform where sustainable options from different angles can be together, so people buying from there, at least they know what they're helping. They're helping a designer that maybe is starting, they're helping a sustainable fashion brand that maybe is offering their products. So all this is like, but so it came, the entire Bushopia came out of sheer need, basically, because I realized it was so difficult to be able to buy, because they're like, you have one website there, some people don't even have websites, you buy through Instagram, and then maybe it's an issue with the shipping because we are not particularly central. So so that's how it came about. I think we need to facilitate the people that are ready to do the journey to a more sustainable lifestyle. Bushopia is that first stop, when you're gonna get there, is more sustainable in a way. Slow fashion, maybe per se you may think it's not sustainable because maybe they're using materials or fabric that are not sustainable, but the process itself is more sustainable than mass production, because when you are not mass producing, when you're doing small batches, normally they don't do one, they do more than one, they do different sizes and stuff, but when you're doing small batches, there's less waste, because if basically, if the demand increase, then you increase your batches, the amount of batches that you do. Instead of having 100 pieces or thousands of pieces sitting somewhere, you're actually doing what your customers are demanding.
Okay.
It allows you more flexibility. As a designer, starting is much better.
Okay. So now, when someone is going for experience in a mall, okay, now why people prefer mall is because they can see the product, they can feel the product, and the main thing, okay, when it comes to fashion is that how well it's fitting
It's
you,
going to fit. Mhm.
you know, like that's the main criteria.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about e-commerce, okay, so okay, the mindset has changed, okay. So a lot of people no longer want to feel the product, but when they see the product, they can get the feeling, you know, and that's the reason they just take an instant decision, you know, or a very thoughtful decision, and they buy it. But when it comes to a personalized fit, you know, how can you cope up with that problem?
Personalized fit meaning?
Means like everyone has a different body, you know, altogether, but the sizes are not exactly accurate. Like someone who is wearing a small might not be fit for a small. Okay, he wants something between small and medium.
Well, there is a return, so you can, if you
Okay.
order, you see even sometimes you think that you are a medium and then you're already a large or a small. So there is the possibility of returning and ordering the size that is going to be fitting you. So that's how e-commerce normally try to master that.
Okay, now one more thing when it comes to sizes has come in e-commerce, okay? Like you can make use of artificial intelligence wherein from your website itself you can take the sizes of the customers. Like suppose if they're in front of the camera, so the sizes can be taken with the help of virtually artificial intelligence. So do you think making use of such technology can overcome the problem?
For sure. For sure, because in there is no like, oh, I think I'm a medium. It's not. I think it probably will give exact measures and stuff. For sure, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will
So
help.
it will help. And how do you feel Dubai as an economy for startups? You know, or Dubai as a platform for startups? You know, so a lot of young entrepreneurs who want to start their journey. Okay. What is the message you have for them, or what is the information you have for them?
Do it like Nike. Just do it.
Okay. And like,
if you have a dream and you think you can actually make a business out of it, go ahead and pursue your dream. That's just like that. Dubai is a great place for many reasons. It's a peaceful place. There are people living here because of the visa situation and the way that the country is laid out. Basically, people have income. They're staying here, so it's a good market to start developing your idea. I think Dubai is a great place to start. True that the startup costs are a little bit higher, but well, I think the government is working on trying to make different options. But it would be fantastic, really, like if it would come out with.
I also feel there is a lot of government support that is coming for startups. So the government is trying to build an ecosystem and a
think
support
so.
system. So we can only hope like every day it gets stronger.
I think so. I think so. They're trying now. Like, what we need to see really is like more steps in that direction, because I think there is a need of the SMEs are actually the fabric, the fiber of society at the end of the day. You can't have Coca-Cola, the Pepsi, and
Exactly.
General Electric only. You need also to have small, medium companies that bring newness and bring new ideas and different ways to solve different problems.
Probably that's one of the reasons. Like there are 70% SMEs in Dubai, and that's the driving force of the economy.
Totally.
Yeah. And when it comes to e-commerce, okay, so what do you think? Like, what is the journey to start up an e-commerce in Dubai, and what's the way ahead?
Well, to have any kind of income in Dubai, first of all, you need to have your trading license, or they can choose. There is different platforms where they can get the e-commerce license. So I think Creative Sounding, Fujairah, Tcom also has, D3 also has. So there's different reasons where they can have their e-commerce done. And then, well, you need to develop your website. So you can do it like in my case, I did it myself, but you can get someone else to do it for you. So you remove from yourself the headache of developing your own website. And yeah, so you're gonna be having a digital shop, an online shop, but you will work very much on the digital marketing and sharing and creating content, making it relevant for your audience. And yeah, it's interesting journey there.
And what do you think about the courier part? Like, do you have some options?
The logistics. Yeah,
Okay.
in our case, we're partnering with DHL. They're pretty
Okay, so
happy
that's the
with
way to
them.
go for
Yeah,
e-commerce?
in my case, that was the way to go. There's many other options out there. You have different companies, the small courier ones, and also big ones. In our case, we decided to go with DHL so that the parcels are tracked and it's easy to integrate with the website. And